Hey there everyone, and welcome to this very special video that I have been so very eager to make for all of you, and I have been waiting for this moment for a very long time. I am Luka from MiniWarGaming.com, and I am here to showcase a few brand new cards never seen before to go along and coincide with the new crossover release from Magic the Gathering and Warhammer 40,000 in the form of their new Commander decks. Now, if you're unaware of this release or are very curious about it and you want to know more, you can click on the link in the description down below or simply go to miniwargaming.com/magic, and that'll redirect you to all the information you're going to need about this set. Both Magic the Gathering and Warhammer 40,000 have been some of my biggest passions in my life as far back as I can remember, and I want to thank Wizards for sponsoring this video and giving me the opportunity here to kind of share my love of the hobby with everyone watching at home. This is a release that I've been keeping my eyes on very closely ever since there were rumors about it on the internet, and I have just been the biggest fan of Magic the Gathering for nearly as long as I've been into Warhammer 40,000, which is pretty much my entire life. I got locked in hard into both hobbies around the time of 6th edition Warhammer 40,000 and the release of Innistrad. For quite a bit of people, I assume the first set they seriously get into is usually their favorite. Innistrad, to this day, is still my favorite set. That set was very Victorian horror. Honestly, couldn't have asked for a more perfect set. You had werewolves, vampires, zombies. And on the Warhammer 40,000 side, I had just brought out my Necron collection from the abyssal depths that is my mom's basement back then. Trying to piece together all the broken models I had as a kid and work with what I had. I still remember the first model I ever got was the original Illuminor Zazera. It's just a tiny little guy with 4 legs. I thought he was so creepy because he had the skull and the spine in his hand. I'm like, what's going on with that guy? What's he doing? I don't understand any of this. And I couldn't be happier when Wizards revealed that they were releasing a Necron-specific Commander deck, mono black, literally my favorite color in the entire game, all on its own. So now you get the opportunity to choose if Imhotep the Stormlord, the Necron who decided to step up to the plate while the Silent King was away and absent, or the original ruler of the Necrons who made the ultimate decision to give them all immortality. Or maybe the Tyranids are more your speed, naturally the deck being led by the Swarmlord. Or, if you prefer a more subtle approach, we have the Magus Luka, leader of the Genestealer cults, who, of course, lay out the groundwork for all Tyranid invasions, and they make sure that the planet's populace is more than willing to embrace the new and glorious four-armed Emperor. Or maybe you'd rather represent the Imperium of mankind with such legendary figures as the Chapter Master of the Ultramarines Marneus Calgar being one of the main protagonists, in a way, of Warhammer 40,000, going all the way back to Rogue Trader. Or maybe you'd rather your deck led by someone of equivalent conviction. The Inquisitor Greyfax, a figure who commands the absolute authority of the Emperor with her inquisitorial rosette, keeping the galaxy safe for all of humanity. And lastly, the deck that I'm really here to talk about and show off the 2 brand new cards never seen before. We got the Ruinous Powers, led by Abaddon the Despoiler. First captain of the Sons of Horus. Second to the War Master Horus himself. The reason we have Warhammer 40,000 as it is today. Couldn't have picked better colors for Chaos. We got Grixis here. It's red, black, and blue. Or you could choose to swap out Abaddon and run Be'lakor, the Dark Master, the first Demon Prince. And with him, you can try to enact your nefarious schemes through sly act and nefarious deeds. Now, in all 4 of these decks, you're going to have some of the most flavor-filled cards you could possibly imagine pertaining to Warhammer 40,000. Every card is unique to these decks. Every card is unique to the world of Warhammer 40,000. And if you're a fan of both, you gotta check this stuff out. Now, what we're here to talk about are 2 brand new cards. I'm finally getting to the point here. Card 1 of 2, Magnus the Red, Primarch of the Thousand Suns. He's a red and blue legendary creature costed at 5. Natural colors for the Thousand Suns. He's a 4 power, 5 toughness flying creature on top of all that. He has 2 unique abilities. We got the Blade of Magnus, as well as Unearthly Power, both working perfectly in conjunction with one another. The Blade of Magnus, we'll talk about that one first because it's a little bit more important. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, and with flying relatively easily, he will create a 3/3 red spawn token creature, which is exactly what he does in the tabletop game of Warhammer 40,000 as well. You just, boom, you get touched by that staff, bad thing is gonna happen to you. And I hate that for that person, but that's Warhammer 40,000 in a nutshell, baby. Now the other ability here, Unearthly Power, works based off of creature tokens. In fact, every creature token you have in play will reduce the cost of all your instant and sorcery spells by 1 colorless mana. Heck, even having 1 creature token out is extreme value, not to mention the fact that this deck will be able to produce even more of these on top of just Magnus's ability. And what better way to represent the sorceress prowess of the Sorcerer King than just machine gunning out a bunch of instant and sorcery spells at very low cost. I love this deck, I love the flavor in this deck, and the art as well. Heroic, love it. Now the second card I want to showcase holds a very special place in my heart. It's an enchantment, it's a saga, it's perfect, it's the Horus Heresy. I don't even know where to begin on this card. As I mentioned earlier, I want to play the Necron deck. I really want to play the Necron deck, but as I see these 2 cards here for the Ruinous powers, I am in love. If I had to choose anything as a second love for Warhammer 40,000, it would be Chaos in all of its glory. The more I read this card, the more it just made sense. This is perfect to represent the story of the Horus Heresy in Magic the Gathering mechanical style. Now, saga enchantments, if you're unaware of them, they tell a story from long ago, and each phase, each step in this saga will give the player certain benefits. As you play this card, and then every draw step on your turn after that, you're gonna get a lore counter that tells a part of the story, usually in 3 major acts. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what the Horus Heresy is, it tells the tale of the Emperor's favorite son fallen to chaos and taking half of his brothers and their legions to invoke the greatest tragedy humanity has ever seen in the 31st millennium in our galaxy. Now back to this card, where do I start? It's Grixis colors. We have black, red, blue. These are the colors of the Ruinous Power deck. With 3 colorless mana, it is 6 in total to cast. The first act, you will steal 1 non-legendary creature from every player at the table for as long as the Horus Heresy remains on the battlefield. This first act represents Horus convincing his brothers and their legions to join him in civil war against their father, the Emperor of Mankind. The second act will have you drawing a card for each creature you control, but don't own. This represents Horus gaining power and control over the galaxy because of the assistance of his brothers and their legions. And then the final act will have each player, starting with you, choosing a creature, and then each creature chosen will be destroyed. Ultimately, the end of the heresy, too much is lost for either side to salvage anything. This is some of my favorite art I've ever seen for the Horus Heresy. It depicts Horus the War Master on the left fighting against his father, the Emperor of Mankind, over top of the body of the fallen Primarch Sanguinius of the Blood Angels on the Spirit of Vengeance. Horus, the War Master's flagship. When I said I was excited to play that Necron deck, I am just as excited to play this Ruinous Powers deck. I am so excited for the Horus Heresy to pop off. You have no idea. It is gonna be crazy. And I know, and I am very thankful that my friends at home are more than willing to just grind out games of the Warhammer 40,000 crossover of Magic the Gathering in the form of these commander decks. And again, if you want more information on this, hopefully I've kind of piqued that interest, sparked that fire a little bit, please go check the link down below in the description, or go to, again, miniwargaming.com/magic. I know I'm gonna be playing a lot of these decks. I'm gonna be playing a lot of games of Magic with them, and I hope that you all at home will as well. And please remember to leave some feedback in the comments down below. Show us your love of Warhammer 40,000. Show us your love of Magic the Gathering. Show us of your love when they're combined. And I'll catch you all next time, very soon. Happy wargaming.